Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is With Infinite Love, and my name is Kalila. And today we are doing a career guidance reading. That's just what wanted to come through. We have three groups today. Group one has the green aventurine. Group two has the ruby in blue kyanite. And group three has, I think this is preonite, but I have to look it up. And I'm not going to do that right now because my phone is my camera. And so, yeah, we're just going to go with that. They are all actually really good stones for the heart chakra, which I think is really interesting that those wanted to come out in a career guidance reading. So I really think this is going to be a reading um, about heart led, heart centered career guidance and work. So I'm excited for this today, and let's get started. Hi, Group 1. You chose this green aventurine, so we're going to set that over here. And the card that you chose for your reading was the Eight of Pentacles. And so this card talks about, it's about the hard work, the unromantic, the boring, the daily grind. These are the repetitive actions that all add up over time, right? So this is it, it's giving, I don't know if this is technically a card associated with Virgo, but it always makes me think of Virgo because these are the things that you do day in and day out that, like I say, are boring on the surface of it, but they are what make the difference over time. So it's like kind of, going to the gym and lifting weights, and eventually you get stronger, but you don't always see the results that you want for a while. So that is the energy of this overall reading. I know it's not super sexy, but it is super needed when we're talking about career guidance. So put that back in the deck and let's see what comes up for you for your career guidance. Your heart led career guidance. Okay, and I did clear the energy and I did shuffle these already, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. We're just going to do a few shuffles and get your cards. Here's this one. What do we have? We have the strength. Let's see. Strength is a card associated with Leo. It does often really talk about inner strength, about the harnessing of outer and inner worlds, that balance between the two. There again, it has the sun on it as a nod to Leo. So tell me about the career guidance. There we go. Your guidance. Knight of Pentacles. That really goes with your opening card there. What's this? Knight of Swords. Wasn't sure whether that was coming out upright or reversed. Interesting. There seems to be some anxiety here. King of Cups in reverse. Also interesting. Okay, tell me more about the Strength card, Spirit. Tell me more about the Strength card for Group 1. Career guidance. Four of Cups. Okay, there's a picture starting to form here. That one wanted to... You saw that, right? Three of Wands. Okay. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Let's see. This card. Six of Cups reversed. And the Moon. And bottom of the deck. Okay. Okay. Bottom of your deck energy is the Ten of Cups. Wow. Okay. So what I'm seeing here is, I think your career is not progressing as quickly as you would like, and you're kind of starting to be in your head about that. I think because I said the Nine of Swords is often, oh, I'm gonna stop leaning on this table. Sorry. New setup, trying to figure it out still. Okay. So your Nine of Swords is a card of anxiety. The Knight of Pentacles is a slow moving energy, but it is solid. And I think, strength inviting you to balance your external with your internal. We have the Four of Cups here. I'm like totally getting ahead of myself. Okay. I think that they're, again, slow down. And that this is so part of your message, because it's like you're wanting to, you feel like there's a finish line and you're trying to get there and it's just not happening. And so let me slow down. Okay, so first card was the Strength card, and I did talk a little bit about that. It's your innocence and your kind of primal instincts, and your wisdom, your inner wisdom, and really balancing those two things, and that came out strong as your first card. With Four of Cups, it came out under that. I think what's happening is you have your eye on this cup that's not here yet. It's in the mirror, you can see it, you have this vision of it. And you have these three cups. And you've got, you see here, we have the crystals for the wands, and we have the pentacles down here, we have the watery cups, we have the fire, and you have all of these tools, and you're almost there, but you don't quite have this cup yet, and you're starting to get a little antsy. So the focus of the card, right, the focal point of the card is this thing that you don't have yet. And so then we move into the slow moving Knight of Pentacles, and it can feel sometimes, the Knight of Pentacles sometimes feels like they are standing still. And then the Three of Wands is also a card of waiting for your ships to come in. It's seeing this vision that you've manifested in the distance and waiting for it to come, finally reach the shore so that you can access it. So the Nine of Swords in this context makes a lot of sense, because you feel like you can almost reach out and touch this thing, this goal that you've wanted, but it's just not here, and you're like, is there something else that I should be doing to bring this in faster? And we'll get it, we'll look at that. Okay. We will get cards for that later, but I think it's interrupting your sleep, because you feel like, it seems like you feel like you're missing something, because it's like you can taste your goals and they're not here yet. And so I think it's really interesting we have the Six of Cups in reverse, because so the Six of Cups is often a very sweet energy. It's a nostalgic energy, kind of harkening back to your childhood and to more innocent times. And with this being in reverse, I'm wondering if it kind of seems like you need to reassess, to go back here to this strength and go, with what I know now, is this cup that I want still what I want? Or have I just wanted it for so long that I am not? Oh, this is really interesting. I wasn't expecting this. Okay, have I just been looking at this for so long and neglecting the other options that I might have? And maybe I don't even want this anymore. Maybe I'm just living in the past. Maybe I am just focused on this thing out of habit, and it's not really alive in me anymore. And that may or may not be true, but the Six of Cups in reverse is asking you to consider it, right? It's asking you to notice if there is an adjustment that needs to be made in your focus. Even just like 1 degree, one side or another, can completely change the track of your experience. The King of Cups in reverse did kind of surprise me, because I mean, we did say this was a heart-centered, heart-led career guidance reading, but the King of Cups we often see as a person, as an older masculine figure who is very emotionally stable and has done the work and is comfortable in their emotions. They're emotionally available, but they're not swept away by their emotions. They're in control. But in reverse, it's that archetype out of balance. And so I don't know. It's possible that the King of Cups in reverse could be you. It could also be an authority figure in your life. It does not have to be male, but it is talking about that kind of, that more proactive, more outward facing, quote unquote masculine energy that could be in distortion in in an emotional way. And so the first thing that comes through King of Cups reverse in a career reading is that you have a father figure who has ideas for what you should do, and you've been trying to please them, but they're not in balance. Their vision for you doesn't have to be your vision for yourself. And can you give yourself permission to let go of trying to please someone who's not you in this, in your career path, in your life path? The moon here is a very uncertain energy that you have to go on faith a lot, because there's not a lot that you can see. And you have to rely on your intuition to know friend from foe. But you have, with a strength here, you have what it takes, right? You have the inner strength to shift gears a little bit, even if it means letting down someone who, I'll be real honest, and this doesn't have to be for you, but for someone, you've got someone who means well. They want the best for you, but they've decided what's best for you based on their experience or the things that they have missed out on in life, and they're not necessarily thinking about you and what would be most fulfilling for you. So your career guidance here is to do that reevaluation, to adjust course a little bit, because your bottom of the deck energy here is the 10 of Cups. That is emotional fulfillment in your career, right? This is finding your life purpose. That do a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That is the 10 of Cups. There's no 9 of Swords in the 10 of Cups, right? There's no anxiety. You know exactly where you are, where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing. And you're really being asked to do that inner evaluation to see what you can adjust, because it's not, here's the thing. 3 of Wands, this is coming in for you. The Knight of Pentacles tells me it's coming in slow, but your ships are coming in. But just shifting your focus that degree or two to one side or the other of this thing you've been building, because you don't want to throw away all the work you've done necessarily. If that's what needs to be done, I mean, absolutely. But it doesn't have to be a massive change in your life, right? The overall energy of your reading was the 8 of Pentacles. It's the things that you do every day. Adding or taking away one of those things that you do every day can completely change who you are as a person. If you eliminate something that was causing you stress and not getting you results, then all of a sudden you freed up this time for a different kind of abundance to come into your life. Or if you add something that is bringing you joy or fulfillment, or that's just another facet of this project that you've been working on that you find fulfilling, and you keep doing that over time, that will be the 1 degree of change that can make all of the difference and bring in this 10 of cups. What's under that? The 2 of wands. Yeah, this is going back to the manifesting stage, and I think that's just kind of confirmation there. And what's this next card there? Yeah, the judgment in reverse. There is a rebirth, there is a change here that I think you're fighting against. And so it seems to just be confirmation. Let me get another deck for advice. Okay, Spirit, for group 1, what guidance do you have for them um, to help them on their reevaluation? What guidance do we have for group 1 as they're reevaluating their career and tell me about this 9 of Swords, 6 of Cups in reverse. What do they need to let go of from their past? Ooh, okay. That was dramatic. 2 of Swords, indecision. 10 of Coins, interesting. Okay. 4 of Wands in reverse. Okay. So we have here, so the 2 of Swords is not knowing which direction to go. And the 10 of Coins is generally a very abundant energy. And I don't think that's what you're being asked to let go of, because obviously that's what you're stepping into. I think what you're letting go of here is, so 2 of Swords usually lets me know that you're stuck between your head and your heart. You know that something isn't working, right? And you know what you're working towards with the 10 of Coins. But you don't know what steps to take to get there. And so the 4 of Wands in reverse is an instability in inspiration. And again, it really feels like there's just like you've got a blind spot that has all of the answers in it. That for some reason you subconsciously don't want to look at. And it could have to do, placement of this. I think it really does have to do with this King of Cups in reverse, whoever that is for you, or whatever that represents for you, of that unstable authority figure, well-meaning but ultimately not helpful. So what do we have? We have then the Empress and the Knight of Swords. One more face here. And the Sun. Okay. So this is asking you, so the Empress is, the very nurturing energy. She's often depicted in cards where she's personified. The energy is depicted as a pregnant woman with, sitting kind of on a throne in the middle of these fields that are overflowing with crops and harvest. And in order to be in that energy, you have to be so grounded and so connected to, we'll say, like your sacral energy. And then by that I mean, um so in women assigned, like, or people assigned female at birth, right, is the womb space, and those assigned male at birth, this is, the it's like your sexual center. uh Whether you are consider yourself a sexual person or not, we all have an energy there that is our creative energy, right? That's the pregnancy in the Empress card is about creativity. And but in order to connect fully with that energy, you have to be so in tune with your own sense of aliveness. And so there are different ways of activating that if you need help with that. There's breath work, and kundalini yoga. And I'm not going to like give you advice about which one is good for you, but if that's something that resonates with you as something to be nurtured, then I definitely look into different ideas for connecting with your sacral energy or sexual energy. And I hope I'm not getting in trouble with YouTube for saying that word. Okay. Then we have the Knight of Swords, who is just really going after what they want. They have that sort of truth, right? And they're not going to let anything stop them from getting there. So I think these two kind of go together. Once you've connected so deeply with yourself, and don't let anything stop you from following that, from, in a lot of spaces, it's that I'm okay. So let me back up. I don't As a tantric sexuality teacher, which there are, I don't talk about that much because I have nuanced views on that. But your life force energy is the energy in your sacral, and connecting to that is how you manifest the life of your dreams. It's how you connect with yourself, with the world, and with your abundance. Okay. And so that's where your truth lies, is in, for vulva owners, that is where, that is the deepest wisdom that you can access, is the wisdom in the womb space, or in the sacral center, in, the lingam and the yoni. And we could go into what, this is not a tantric sexuality course. But it is what's coming through here, is that deep resonance, that it's not the third eye intuition, it's deeper than that. It's comes from that place, your lower dantian, if anybody is familiar with Chinese traditional medicine. But yeah, and moving from that place with this Conqueror of Swords, having that deep level of clarity, kind of erases anything else that would otherwise distract you from your goals. And that will bring you into this sun energy, into this ultimate happiness. This, the sun card sometimes has a child on the back of a horse. It is this innocent, wild, free, overwhelmingly joyful energy. And this is your guidance here. And so I don't know why I went into the whole tantric aspect of it, but it's needed to come through for somebody. But if that wasn't for you, then please just ignore it. And if that was for you, there are so many resources out there, if that's something that you want to look into. But I am going to leave you there for today. I hope this was helpful. If it was, let me know by leaving a like, and subscribe if you want more. And I hope to see you in another reading. Thanks so much. Bye bye. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Ruby and Kyanite. And the card that you chose is the Page of Pentacles. So this feels like, well, it's a new beginning in some way. I don't know. You're either at the beginning of your career or you are starting over again with this card. The Page of Pentacles is kind of it's the youthful energy in the court cards, and it's someone who's learning. So you're, like I say, this just tells me that if this is your group, you are either at the beginning of your career or you're starting over and really trying to build some wealth, build a legacy, build a life for yourself that feels fulfilling. So that will be the overall energy of this reading. We're going to set your crystal there, put this back in the deck, shuffle it a couple of more times, and get some guidance for you about what is next, career guidance on this new journey you're embarking on. So, Spirit, for group 2, what career guidance do we have for group 2 as they're in this page energy? What do we have? The Lovers. And we did say that this was going to be a kind of a heart-led, heart-centered career guidance reading if you watched the intro. Because all of these stones that you guys chose or that wanted to come out for this reading are kind of work with heart energy. This one wants to come out. Pentacles. All right, so we have the Lovers, the Four of Wands, the King of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. So the Lovers is Gemini energy. And, Gemini is the incurably curious sign of the zodiac. This is the one who wants to know everything about everything and is very much, Gemini is notoriously flighty because they get bored easily. But, and so there is that potential of that energy. It is a youthful energy like your Page of Pentacles is. But I think it's a very energetic energy. Ha! But, yeah, that happened. Okay. But it's that insatiable curiosity and just looking for the next thing gives it a little bit of a. People love to hate Gemini, but they really they're so curious about everything. And I was watching another reader talk about Gemini as the Lovers and how that manifests in love as someone who's really looking for something that's going to suit them long term, that's going to keep their interest long term, and so that they can invest in it. And we have the High Priestess and the Knight of Wands. Okay. The bottom of the deck energy. That's meant to be okay. Four of Cups in reverse is your bottom of the deck energy. That's interesting. Okay. Four of Cups in reverse. Let me think about that for a second, because we had the Four of Cups upright in the last group. But I think I like this with this spread as your bottom of the deck energy, because it's kind of this brings these 3 cups that you have that are present in your life into focus, into the the top of the card, into So where you're looking at what you have already and what you have to work with already, and you're not getting swept up in this illusion that's not here yet. Your focus when this card is reversed is on what you have and on appreciating and utilizing those tools in the best way that you can. So I like this card reversed in a career reading, particularly. Okay, so let's get into it. So we were talking a little bit about the lovers. The lovers can also be about a choice. In the traditional tarot, the lovers was about, the antiquated. I know it's why we don't see that imagery too much in modern decks, but it's a man deciding between two women which one is going to be the wise choice for his life moving forward. And so the card was originally implied having a choice about two paths. With this Four of Cups in reverse, though, it's telling me that you are choosing in a more practical way. You're not, whatever choices you're making about your career are very grounded in the level of education and the resources that you have available to you. And so that's great. But there is still, it tells me that you're making a positive choice. And the Four of Wands is a very stable card also. This is the card of celebration in a lot of things. It's often showing a wedding. So I can't I can't ignore, as much as I'm trying to, I can't ignore the kind of romantic undertones to part of this. And so it could be that whatever it is you're stepping into in your career is focused on creating a stable romantic life, whether it's, because you're young and you're just starting out and you want to have the resources to get married and have the family, or if you're starting over, you're wanting to provide for yourself and for maybe a partner or a family you already have, or anywhere in that spectrum. There I think there is a focus here on not just career but the purpose of your career. And we did say this was a heart-led career guidance reading, and that's really coming through here. So the King of Swords is very logical, and for me, I make a distinction in the tarot between the logical choices and the practical choices. I know a lot of people conflate those, but there are logical decisions that you can't actually bring into reality sometimes because practically they're not tenable. And so for me, the King of Swords is logic and the King of Pentacles is practical. And I think, we do have Pentacles on the table, your Seven of Pentacles later that's coming through there. But I think with this King of Swords, that you are kind of doing, whether you're doing a literal spreadsheet or a mental one, I think you are looking at the logical aspects of everything. You're looking at the balance sheets. You're looking, I think you've budgeted ahead, right? This is again, we're talking about, because you do seem to be very focused on the future because you are at the beginning of this career journey. I think if you're not already doing the math and making the predictions and setting yourself up on paper for the life that you want, that is your guidance with the King of Swords. I'm going to wait on these last two cards here and come over here to the Six of Swords. Then the Six of Swords is you're moving on from a period of conflict and into calmer waters. And so, we do have two sixes here, and you are this. It's definitely showing me that you're looking for balance, right? There's there's actually a lot about balance on this table. And so, because sixes are in the tarot are harmony, right? The lover sets the tone for what the lovers as card six sets the tone for what six means in each suit. And so you're looking for a harmonious kind of mental state in this, and you're moving on from whatever conflict you had before this that has you so determined to create this stability, to create this life that you're hoping for, that you're working towards. You're not hoping for it because you are actually bringing this in. And then with the temperance here, so temperance is associated with Sagittarius, and it is a card of alchemy. It's a card about balance, about patience, about sifting through and sorting through what you have, again, with the materials that you have, that you've done that assessment and you know what's here and you know what you're working towards and you know what your priorities are. Temperance is you doing the alchemical work of bringing that into reality, right? So Sagittarius does talk about higher education, it talks about travel and expanding your horizons. But in order to do that, you have to know how to temper that fire that wants to just go on a whim and on inspiration with your kind of your emotional state so that you can alchemize that and really be and your most effective and how do I want to say this? Hold on. It's how you don't burn out, right? Sagittarius is the mutable fire sign. So that's really how it's how we end things. It's how we transition between things. And so because you are at the beginning, you are automatically at a transition. What I'm seeing here mostly is someone who is, how do I want to say this well. You're laying the groundwork for something really extraordinary in your life. You're because you're focused on balance, because you're projecting for the into the future, the things that you need and the things that you desire, and really working with your emotional well-being, with your inspiration, with your logic. I think you're anticipating problems that may arise here with the high priestess. You're tapping in to your intuition. I learned the high priestess as Pisces energy. I have also heard Cancer and Virgo. So take that as it resonates. But this is in a I'm feeling more Virgo in this spread because so Pisces and Virgo are on the same axis, right? And Virgo is the practical end of this spectrum, whereas Pisces is the head in the clouds archetype. Virgo's the one doing the work, but they're both incredibly intuitive. They just manifest their intuition in different ways. And so I'm really seeing this high priestess as, yes, you're anticipating the problems that might come up and you're you're implementing things in your daily routine, if we're talking about Virgo energy, into your daily routine that will help support this vision of your future here. I'm going to look at these last two cards now, and then we'll move to the other deck for guidance, for further guidance. But so the Seven of Pentacles is a card of waiting for the harvest, right? It's you've planted the seeds, and we've kind of been discussing that this whole time. You've planted these seeds, and now you're having to kind of sit back and wait for them to come into fulfillment, right? There's not a lot of movement in the Seven of Pentacles. It's more about, again, making sure that anything that might be a threat to your harvest is weeded out without damaging the seeds that you've planted. It's that stage of going, okay, I've done the work. I know what's happening, and now it's just a matter of time. And so what's interesting to me is this Knight of Wands, that this is the Knight of Wands, I mean, has no chill. For the Knight of Wands to be coming out under the Seven of Pentacles, I think part of this temperance, part of this balance that you're being guided to really look at and notice and stay focused on is that, you know, you have laid all these plans, you've done all of the groundwork, and I think you're going to want this to move quickly because of the vision that you have and the purpose behind it. And I'm not saying it won't come in quickly. It very well may with this Knight of Wands, but you don't want to rush it and, you know, pull up your harvest, you know, pull up your crops before they have matured, right? And I think, yes, keep this passion, keep this fire that's fueling all of these things that you are putting into place. But don't allow yourself to be guided by your impatience. And being called to look under this Four of Cups here. The Eight of Cups in reverse, that's interesting. Cups in reverse. So you might be returning to something from your past. But then we do have, under that we have the World. There's Capricorn energy. This is telling me that you are going to get what you want out of this, right? This is the completion of a cycle. This is that legacy kind of card of really having done the work and seeing that it has brought you everything you wanted. There's a lot of success here in this new venture, whether, you know, and I'm not saying there are not going to be bumps in the road, but you are moving towards this having everything you want here in your career. Whew. Okay. Sorry, this particular reading is very very channeled. I'm really hoping it's making sense because I have absolutely no idea what I've said. And yeah, I'm just trusting that whoever needs this is here and is picking up what I'm putting down. If this doesn't make sense to you, then it's probably just not your reading. And that's okay. You can choose another group, another reading, or another reader if that is the case. So let's get a few cards here for additional guidance for group twos. Oh no. Okay, welcome back. For me, anyways, my battery died, so I'm so sorry. I know I don't think I have the table set quite right the way I did, but Just bear with me here. I'm sorry for the interruption and the probably abrupt change for you guys on this on your end. But we so when we left off, I was pulling cards for from another deck for your advice. Yes. Okay. We're good. We're back. So the cards that came out, I don't know how well you can see them. Let me see, check and see what's in frame here. So we have the Strength, we have the Seeker of Coins, which is the Page of Pentacles, which is the card that we started your reading with. So I thought that was really interesting. The Hanged One, Temperance again, the Ruler of Wands, and the Two of Wands. Again, I think we had that down here somewhere. No, was that maybe that was the last group? So yeah, we have the Knight of Wands. We have the Knight and the King of Wands and the Four here. Right. Sorry, I had to let my battery charge for a while, so I'm coming back to this after it's been some time for me. So I'm getting back into it. But I do think this makes a lot of sense. So your advice here with the Strength is, again, your advice, it's really all about balance. I love that the Temperance card on this deck came out on top of the Temperance card in this deck. But so the Strength card is about balancing your inner and outer strength, like not just your physical manifestation of strength, but your inner will and resilience and the strength of your inner peace, um, with the external manifestation of your own strength and power. Um, and then we have, again, like I said, the Page of Pentacles, again, reminding you that this is the beginning of a journey, right? This is not, as much as you're trying to do everything right and you're trying to set all the pieces in place to make this as smooth as possible. I think this is really a reminder that you are going to have to learn things as you go. You can't have contingencies and mitigating circumstances for everything that might show up. Like, you're going to have to learn how to roll with the punches as they come, and just to remember that, you know, yes, you're being very circumspect, very wise and how you're going about this, but you're still a beginner and there's only so much that you can do without just getting in there. And then the Hanged One is an invitation to surrender, to check your perspective, to make sure that you're seeing things from all angles and allowing yourself that time out. Not necessarily a pause. It usually signifies a pause because you've gotten ahead of yourself and you're not seeing things clearly. And so this, it's really inviting you to make sure that you're not getting ahead of yourself while you are planning for the future, right? Again, Temperance and the Temperance, so much balance and emotional alchemy are going into this, and the fact that this is what needed to be reiterated, I think, really, we've already covered a lot of that, I think, but again, balance, patience. We had this Knight of Wands with the Seven of Pentacles. You're, fighting that urge to rush forward with that. Then we have the Ruler of Wands, and this is someone who is like, they're still passionate, but they don't let their passions rule them, right? So this is would be in a traditional deck the King of Wands, and so it is an authority, a passionate authority, but it is an authority that doesn't allow, like I say, allow their passions to rule them. And then with the Two of Wands here, this is really about understanding that you're manifesting something that is going to take time. You're choosing a path that you're at the beginning of, and a traditional Two of Wands is generally someone looking off into the distance with the wands by their side, like they're setting things in motion, but it isn't until the Three of Wands that things keep coming in. And so again, this is in many ways more of the same, that it's about recognizing that you are at the beginning and that this will take time. And yes, you are doing all of the right things, but being able to maintain your passion and maintain your vision and keep things in balance as you go is going to be crucial here. And I'm just being drawn towards, I love this Seeker of Coins and this Hanged One next to each other because they're so similar, right? Seeker of Coins is, here's your Page of Pentacles. This is a youthful beginning energy, right? This is someone who's learning. But the Hanged One is a major arcana. These are these big moments in life that are not small at all. And it's but the fact that they have such similar imagery in them, with the hand holding up these, in this it's wisdom and curiosity and intuition, and in this one you have the rose, which symbolizes generally joy and happiness in this deck, um in that upside down moment. These aren't two cards in a traditional deck that I would often put together, but the way they have drawn them in this deck is so similar that you have everything you need here in your hand, right? This is holding gently while the process unfolds. It's just two fingers holding up whatever, everything that it's being held is only held up by two fingers. There is a delicate balance here that's really being asked of you. And then, here with the Two of Wands, the hand is more of the support for that manifestation. So it's, again, we're talking about a integrating the duality of the gentle hold from above and the support from beneath. And it's all over this reading, and I love that for you. I'm not sure that part could be more clear, but I do think I am going to leave you there. I hope this resonated. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please leave a like, subscribe if you feel called, and I will see you in another group or another reading. Take care. Bye. Hi, group 3. Uh, Welcome to your reading. You chose this, that I still think is a Freonite. And this Four of Pentacles is the card that you chose. And so we want to talk about that for a second. This is a career reading, and so I was kind of surprised this one came out, but I think it also makes sense. So the Four of Pentacles, when we talk about this card, we're usually talking about a sense of holding on. There is here a little bit of a scarcity mindset. This is someone who, yes, their money is stable because fours are stability, but often this is someone who feels like it can't remain that way if they don't hang on. And so for this to be the energy that you were drawn to for your reading, I'm wondering if you feel, well, there's a couple ways this could go. This could be feeling trapped in a job that you're in, that you feel like you can't get out of because you won't find something that pays as well, or you won't find something for whatever reason. There could be all sorts of reasons. It could be, if you're a little older and not wanting to have to go through all of the rigmarole of getting a new position at a certain age, when there's sometimes discrimination, or sometimes there could be all sorts of things there. But whatever it is, the energy that I'm getting from this is that you feel like there's not quite enough where you are, but you're not taking moves to increase that or change it in any ways. So there's a little bit of a stuckness that I'm sensing here. So we're going to move this over to the corner of your reading and put this back in the deck and give it another shuffle or two. I did, cleanse the energy and shuffle cards between readings, but we're going to do one more or two more just to get this done on camera. And then we will see what guidance Spirit has for group threes who were drawn to this. Interesting. Okay, let's see. I've been seeing a couple of cards while I was prepping for this reading, and we'll just see if they come out. If they do, I will definitely tell you. So, Spirit, what is the guidance here for group three? Career guidance, please, Spirit, for group threes. Chariot. Get that lined up. Career guidance, Spirit, for group three. What does group three need to know? Help me tap into the collective. So let's choose group three. This one is trying to come out. Is this upright or reversed? Upright. Okay, do that. Four of Swords. Taking these. Yes, okay. So we have then the Empress, the King of Cups, the Two of Pentacles. That was one of the cards that I kept seeing. We have the Five of Swords in reverse, the Four of Pentacles again upright. Let's get one more card. Tell me about this King of Cups here, Spirit. For those of you who didn't see the intro, there was a theme here about this being about heart-led career guidance, like how you can be emotionally secure in this. Ooh, hello. Okay, what do we have? We have two all of a sudden. We have, okay, so this, why is she sideways? Is she upright or she's sideways? So I'm going to go ahead and take that sideways because that's how it came out. I know that looks a little funky. So I will set her upright and we'll remember that she came out sideways, and then that she also came out with the Six of Cups. So we will get to that. And then your bottom of the deck energy is the Seven of Cups. Okay. All right. These in frame-ish. Yes, good. Okay. So the Chariot is your first card. This is a card associated with Cancer energy, for those of you who like the astrological aspect of it. But it's a card of quick forward motion, very determined action. But it also is one that relies on you having balanced these two. They're horses in a lot of decks, but they're dragons in this deck. And really having harnessed these two kind of opposing forces in order to move forward. And so there is, I think, an invitation here again with the, okay, so because the Two of Pentacles was kind of stalking your reading here, and that is another card of duality. It's a card of juggling, of kind of knowing when to delegate and what you can handle on your own. But it is, she's kind of walking a tightrope here, and she's got um, these two pentacles that she's juggling, and she's doing it, but it's not necessarily easy. And so that's what's really coming forward here for me with this, because we've got the water dragon facing this way, and we've got the fire dragon facing the opposite direction. And our charioteer is having to harness both of these energies, this passion with this emotional, an emotional energy and a passionate energy, having to kind of harness it and balance them both. But once she's mastered that, this is a card about really taking swift forward action and overcoming any obstacles that might get in your way. And so the first thing here is that I think you're needing to really look within and see what's out of balance in your world, and kind of focus on bringing that a little bit more into balance so that you can move forward. As like I say, neither of these, they're both women in this deck, or female presenting, anyways. But they're both juggling in a way. They're both having to really harness opposing forces in order to make this work. But they're both doing it. And I'm looking at this Two of Pentacles. Pentacles is considered an earth energy, but these down here, these look like waves. It looks like she's kind of balancing on this precipice in the middle of water, and there's waves crashing around her. And with the chariot being associated with the card of Cancer, which is a water energy, I think it's really interesting that this chariot is in the air and they're on clouds. So there's an elemental balance that needs to happen also here. Um, we'll see if that comes out more as we continue on. So the Four of Swords then is a card about rest. Usually, this Four of Swords is interesting. It's a little, usually in a typical deck we have someone laying down on an altar, kind of in meditation, and the swords are underneath them. They're in this pause. But the way they've illustrated this card, it looks like this one is like kind of piercing her, like she's being pinned in place here as she takes this pause. And so there's a sense with the way they've done this deck that this Four of Swords is it's not the rest of preparing for battle, which it usually is in the deck. This one is being forced to stop and go within in order to prepare. This Five of Swords in reverse, I think, is really interesting, because so this in the suit of swords, this follows this one. And the Five of Swords we usually discuss being about a battle that is won, but at such enormous personal cost is it doesn't feel like it's actually been won. It kind of, the energy of it is that someone is technically the victor, but no one feels like they've won. Now in reverse, it can mean different things. I think, let me just check real quick what this particular book is trying to bring forward. Yeah, burnout, exhaustion. Oh no, that's for sorry. Yeah, reconciliation, resolution, compromise, avoidance, moving on, learning from mistakes, and breaking free. It's a shift from conflict towards healing. And I was kind of getting that because his, we've got this knight is bald, and his bare head here at the bottom of this card feels very vulnerable in a way. And so this this pause is absolutely necessary, but it's going to bring in this healing, this I want to call it surrender, kind of, or so this particular guidebook has the career meaning in it is compromises, ending workplace hostility, rebuilding trust, and overcoming manipulation. So this could be you taking like a break from work and then coming back having seen clearly, you know, with that with the way she's pinned down there, when it doesn't feel like a vacation necessarily. This could easily be, and don't, this was super specific, so if this part isn't for you, don't take it, but this could be a suspension from work of some kind, kind of a forced break, or it could just be that you haven't been taking your vacations and they're making you because you have to. That can happen sometimes too. But I think you're coming back out of this pause with clearer insights as to what needs to happen to resolve the issues you're having in your career. With the Empress here, um, this is the nurturing, abundant, fertile energy in the tarot. This is, but generally we see the Empress and we think of physical abundance. It's a card associated with Venus. This is Taurus and Libra, but I mostly think of the Empress as Taurus, just because it's such an earthy, kind of grounded version of abundance. There's no stress here. There's no concern. And when your overall energy here, again, being the Four of Pentacles and feeling like you have to hold on to everything, the Empress does not have that feeling. She knows there's always more, right? Um, she doesn't look it quite so much in this deck, but she's often depicted as a pregnant woman. And, you know, you can't be pregnant forever. You have to give birth. And that's not a loss, right? It's a change of state, but it's not a loss. And it's, in fact, that changing state leads to more abundance. And that really feels like, oh, I just got chills. That feels like the message here, that changing, oh my gosh, yes, changing your state here is what is required for you to have this abundance that is waiting for you. Um, and so I'm wondering if this energy here with the Chariot and the Two of Pentacles, this juggling aspect, is what kept you. It's what got you stuck in the first place, because you worked so hard to balance things, and yeah, it feels like you felt like if you dropped one of the balls that you'd have dropped them all. If you know what I mean. Like when we're juggling a lot of things, we have a lot of balls in the air. That's the metaphor. And if you let one drop, then it just completely throws you off, and you drop them all. And that can easily get you into this Four of Pentacles energy, where you you feel like you just have to maintain the status quo, or it's all going to go just fall apart. But what I'm getting here is that actually letting go, letting whatever is trying to change in your life, letting that transformation, that change happen, is what will bring you into this super abundant, fertile energy. And yeah, Yeah, that's definitely that message there. So these two cards over here have been the kind of the advice here. And we haven't even looked at your bottom of the deck energy, but Seven of Cups is having options. It's having a lot of options and not knowing which to choose. And I think that's for that coming out as your like bottom of the deck foundational for the reading energy. Justice is underneath that. Oh, it's so interesting. Oh, that's yeah. You've been trying to hold all these cups. That's the juggling that you've been doing. You want it all. And I mean, who doesn't, right? But having it all is about allowing it into your life, not forcing it. You, whew, yeah. You know, we have, let's look at these up close a little bit here. So we have the rabbit here, which symbolizes fertility in both cards. And the flowers, there's flowers in both cards. And, but there's also things here that you may not want, right? There's a lot of, and so I think you've been in your desire to not let anything drop. I think you've been holding on to things that aren't serving you amongst all the things that you actually do want. And so letting these go is only going to fuel you. We've kind of said that already. But the justice underneath that, that is that's balance. That's where we're weighing the value of things. And that seems to be the message there. And you've got temperance under that, which is also balance. Okay. Sorry. I know this is like, this feels really disjointed. I'm hoping it's making sense to you. But it's like things are revealing themselves in awkward orders. And I'm wondering if that's not what this 4 and 5 of Swords here is about, slowing down and getting that perspective so that you can have this. So here we have, this is so interesting. So we have the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles. This is not, this is a compatible pair. It's not really the, you know, we say if it's the same suit, that's the counterparts. But these are in many ways, you know, so water and earth are both receptive energies and they're considered compatible elements, whereas air and fire are both proactive energies and they're considered compatible elements. So these two are compatible and they're coming out here with the 6 of Cups. And so what I don't know, normally I would read this as a relationship, as kind of a soulmate relationship. The 6 of Cups is nostalgia and innocence and um, childhood, right? And so there's a message here to come. This is giving family for me, especially after the Empress has come out, about maybe redirecting your energy to your partnership if you're in one, your children if you have them. Um, and if you don't, it's asking you if you are fulfilled in your home life and if there's something that you can do to increase that fulfillment, right? To bring the sweetness in to your personal life as part of this letting go and this balancing and allowing this sweetness and this abundance in. It's counterintuitive, but we are talking about heart-led career advice here. And so I think you've been here for so long that this may have taken a hit. And so part of this knowing how to heal your career path and knowing when to let go will bring you back into balance in your personal life. Okay. And now I'm going to switch decks here. I'm going to pull some from another deck, and we're going to get a little bit more advice. And these have been a lot of confirmations in the last two readings, kind of reiterating in slightly different ways the things that we have said already. But I want to get them because I got them. They're a little. Sometimes they clear things up a bit. So, Spirit, what guidance do we have about this situation for group 3? I really feel some of you are resisting this message. I'm sure not all of you are, but it definitely feels, oh my goodness. Yeah, we have the Empress again. I really feel like this is very counterintuitive for a lot of you. There seems to be a real need. What do we have? These are okay. So we have the Nine of Coins, which is a card of personal abundance. Like, it's generally a solo card. And with it coming out after the Pillar, I think there might be, if you're not already in a relationship, this is saying that you are coming into true abundance on all levels on your own. And I think there is, yeah, there is still a need to be aware of where you might be sacrificing personal emotional well-being for the sake of this career that's still, despite all of your sacrifices and all of your juggling, is not helping you feel abundant, right? The Pillar is the Empress, and this is, like I say, someone who is at ease in their abundance. The Nine of Coins is kind of the baby. She's considered the baby Empress, and she's done the work and she's reaped the harvest, and she is perfectly content on her own. We have the Justice again, which was here. Like I say, there's been a lot of repeat cards on this section, but it's the balance of discernment and justice, right? This is, things in your life coming into balance, but also any anything that might have been unfair about your trajectory so far, right? Because let's just be real for right now. With the Four of Swords being a Black woman in this deck, okay? Most of us are aware that Black women have to work so much harder than everyone else to get a fraction of the recognition that a white man would just be handed, right? And I do think there has been injustice in your career path so far. You've done all of this work and you're still here. And so it makes a lot of sense that it would be counterintuitive to switch gears, to let go, to focus on your emotional well being. So we have here the Five of Cups, and this is heartbreak. I mean, this is loss, right? There is grief here, and that might be something you're going through in your life, or it could just be a reckoning that all of the work that you've put in is still not getting you the results that you want. You know, Ten of Swords here is it's not the card you want. It's being stabbed in the back. And so I think this justice that's coming in, this wheel of fortune that's turning in your favor, it is bringing in this pillar, this empress energy, this abundance. But and like look, these are major arcana, right? This is huge event in your life. And I get why you're holding on so tight. The wheel of fortune will turn, but it will turn smoother if you can learn to let go. What do we have? Here, let's see. What's under the justice? The temperance, again, balance, patience. Five of Pentacles in reverse coming in out of the cold. The lovers, again, could be referring to this soulmate energy. But it could also just be a choice. And then we do have the Fool underneath that. So there is here a new beginning. But it will require a leap of faith. And that leap of faith for you, I think, is letting go a little bit. Knowing that you are this strong person who has done these things, right? You deserve to reap these rewards. You deserve this healing. Take this rest, you know, because you have the double empress. Okay? I can't make this up. This abundance is here for you. But it cannot come to a closed fist. Okay? But I think I am going to leave you there. Yeah. I do hope this was helpful. If it was, I would love it if you could like it, subscribe if you want more. But I will see you in another group or another reading if you are so called. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye bye.